Hi, I'm John.
I'm Ben.
I'm Andrew.
Ben!
I never know the order that the introductions go in every single
normally
time.
it's me, it's John, me, you, but I'm fine with this considering the way we're sitting.
This is my third episode. I don't have enough data to support that.
I can't support these claims. I've only been on 3 times.
I mean, in all honesty, the first time you showed up on the show, you jumped in so Andrew could go to the bathroom.
That's right.
And then you covered an entire 15 minutes on wrestling, and I didn't want you to stop because that was amazing.
No, it was after we stopped recording, and I was like, cool, you guys can go back to the show. I was like, no, we're keeping all of that.
No,
that's
that was
it.
amazing.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was a great intermission in between John and me rambling about, I guess, more
Final Fantasy spirits within.
Non-theater-based pop culture. I think that's the best way of putting it. But
That's a very polite way of putting it.
yeah, there you go.
All right, so for those of you who didn't see the first part of this episode and don't know why Ben is here, you first of all go watch the first part of this episode.
Yeah, please. It'll explain things so much better.
And secondly, we watched Star Wars.
The original.
The original.
New
A
Hope.
New Hope.
If you're going by modern terminology.
Yes. By plebe terminology.
Yeah, I feel like I need like taped glasses to like shove up my nose.
I'm just going to count glasses pushes now. Like,
Yeah, there you go. So Ben had never seen Star Wars before.
That's true.
So we got him to watch it with us. So I guess Ben recap this thing for us.
Well, I'll have John kind of explain how we got to the point we're at today.
Sure.
All right. A long time ago, in a brewery in which we're sitting.
Yeah. The place that doesn't sponsor us, but we happen to really enjoy their beer.
Yes. Ben had mentioned that he and his partner, Dawn, had gone to see Rogue One.
Yes.
True.
And he mentioned that he had never seen a Star Wars movie before. He had never seen a Star Wars. And
A singular Star Wars.
I probably did say that, yeah.
yes, that is exactly what you said verbatim. And I wasn't sure if you did that on purpose and you were making like an Arrested Development joke or if you legitimately didn't know.
Can Ben be our Michael Cera?
I don't know how I feel about that comment.
No, just in Arrested Development, not in real life. No one likes it.
I thought Scott Pilgrim was our Michael Cera.
We don't talk about Scott Pilgrim anymore. I have accepted my wrong opinion on it, and now we're fine.
That's why it's Michael Cera.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
So, Ben had mentioned that he had never seen Star Wars before, and Andrew and I immediately were ready to chime in and point out how ridiculous this was, because Ben is a raging nerd.
Yeah, for the most part.
So because I think I've joked about this with people in my real life. You're a 26-year-old video game developer who had never seen Star Wars before, and that blew my goddamn mind.
Like, I'm a treasure trove of, like, the ability to not know a thing.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, because we talked about this, we wanted
I'm
to make
so full of nothing.
We wanted to make an entire series that was Ben hasn't seen, and then watch it with you, and that sounded amazing, and like it was going to be a great show.
So in like prior conversations we've had this talk, it's like, have you seen The Matrix? And it's like, no. And everyone's just like, how the fuck, like, are you a computer developer and not seen The Matrix? Like, stuff like that.
And you're like, I actually enjoy binary assholes. I didn't need a movie to tell me that.
So we hop on Star Wars, or to preface, because some of you are probably asking, why did you see Rogue One if you've never seen Star Wars? Well, when you have a partner that is as lovely as mine, she really wants you to be involved in things. And she really wanted to go see this movie, and I'm not gonna be the husband that sits there and be like, maybe see a better movie. Like,
You're not gonna be that asshole.
I'm not gonna be that dude. Like, it's not my gig.
That's fine.
I saw it. It was me and her and a couple of her coworkers and friends, and everyone came out and was like, yay, Star Wars. Like, this is stupid. Like, I thought it was awful. And after seeing some of, like, because this is what the effective, like, what's the end of the episode?
It's the prologue.
It's the prologue to the movie we watched.
Yes, and that, after watching this movie, I still stand by my opinion that Rogue One is shit, but we'll touch that later.
I mean, to be very serious, the more I look at it, you're slowly getting into the not wrong side of things. I liked Rogue One, but I also liked it in a way where I'm a mega fan, and of course I enjoyed it. Whereas to the layman, it's why the fuck did they make this movie? It's like Avengers 2.
Yeah, good point.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched that movie, and I didn't dislike the movie, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, why is there a data center on an ocean planet?
Who decided it's on a goddamn tropical island?
You know what's bad for electronics? Ocean air.
Or like any of that fucking sand.
Well, there's so much that's wrong with it. Like, the whole bit, the whole climax, spoilers, is that I don't even know who the fuck it was, but someone goes and grabs the physical hard drive that has the plans.
Yeah, Jen did.
Okay.
Jen.
Sure.
Because she's renamed in this one. I've got...
Why the fuck don't you decentralize your data, you shits? Like,
So,
this is not...
you're not wrong. I will say
They're only copy the plans.
You have space technology, and you built an island with shitty security.
I will say this is the one really frustrating thing about old school sci-fi and trying to redo franchises, and I think Alien did this as well as you can with Alien Isolation, where the problem with post-DOS punk level stuff is you gotta really fucking stick to your guns. You can't suddenly have better tech out of nowhere, because everyone's then just gonna be like, but why didn't you just use it before? You can't suddenly have teleporters in like a Star Wars prequel and then be like, but why didn't you have them in those earlier movies? And budget is not an answer.
We'll touch on the tech quite a bit, because a lot of my notes for A New Hope, which we'll transition into, talks a lot about the tech, which drives me crazy. And I'm not saying I'm a know-it-all computer developer, but for Christ's sake, consistency would be lovely.
Yeah.
Like,
so let's see. So now that we've let's go into, so we watched this movie.
Yes.
You watched this movie twice.
yes.
You watched the first time with me and John. We watched it at the brewery.
At the brewery.
Yes.
We were all decent levels of out of it.
It was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Brewery was gracious enough to let us watch the movie here.
Yeah.
And we watched it streaming from my laptop onto their giant TV, and my laptop was not up to the business. Not at all.
It was not.
It was tearing like a mofo the entire time.
But then you fixed it, and it was fine, but we were like an hour into the film.
Yeah, it got better, but it also was just not an ideal scenario to be watching.
Now, here's something I honestly can't recall,
Yes.
which tells us a lot about our mental condition that we were in.
Yeah.
Was there subtitles when we watched it?
No.
That
There
helped
were
me
not.
so much on the
Okay.
second walkthrough.
Yeah, we did not.
Because I was trying to take notes the first time, and first of all, my notes from the first time looked like I stuck a pin in my mouth and moved the piece of paper. It was bad. It was
Why
not
did you
good.
decide to write your notes with an Etch-a-Sketch?
Just like Ben just doodling.
No, it felt like I
There's a dude with a sword.
I sneezed and it just erased. It was just it was not good.
Oh my god. Oh, that wasn't an Etch-a-Sketch. That was a Woolly Willy.
Oh man.
All right.
Is that vibrating dildo pen that you had?
Wait, that's a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally a thing.
Holy
I
shit.
actually had one of those when I was a kid.
Are you
No joke.
not the vibrating dildo pen?
No, okay, so
No,
here's the
I
thing.
had that.
Random tangent, people. When I was in elementary school, you can get prizes for all sorts of drives and stuff like that. And one of the prizes I got was this pen that vibrates when you wrote with it. Like, you flip the switch on, it's just like,
Yeah,
and it had a bulbous back end to it. This is something that was in a prize bin in an elementary school.
Well, because the idea, look, like I was
have no
like
words.
first grade, second grade when this happened. Like as a kid, you're just like, oh, it's funny to write with a vibrating pen. It's difficult. And your mom, and you go back home and you show your mom your brand new pen, and then it's just gone. And you're just like, what happened to my pen?
Yeah, the battery's died. The battery's died. I threw it away.
Now we
a
thoroughly
personal story.
horrified our audience.
So back on topic.
So you watched it a second time.
Snuck in my
Yes.
dildo references, but
There
yes.
you go.
Anyway,
So you watched it a second time in a condition that you could remember shit.
I did. It was actually about 2.5 hours ago.
Oh, okay,
now.
so these notes are fresh.
So
then.
super fresh.
Super
Yeah.
fresh.
Super
The ink
fresh.
isn't even dry.
It's actually kind of true. I definitely smeared it a bit.
Stop using gel pens.
That's
Hey, you're not wrong.
that's also fair. And I'm only a quarter of a beer in, so
There
I'm
you
like
go.
way better of a condition to discuss what the hell
So,
is happening.
all right, so let's go on. So you watched it 2.5 hours ago.
Yes.
So I think next, give us your recap. What did you think having watched it the second time?
So the second time, my opinion for watching the second time hasn't changed drastically from the first one, but even with like now I understand the story and what's kind of happening, but even with me being in a completely like sober mindset and paying attention heavily, there's a lot of jumping around. There's a lot of just like everything happening at once, and it does well enough to be like, this is the relevant part. There's no, or at least not that I caught. But there was not like, we'll explain this in the next movie or something like that. It was very like, here's what you need to know. This is it. Moving on from there. Like, was a lot of it, I felt some of it was filler. Like, I felt like a good, like, maybe third of the movie could have been like, you could make this like a 1 hour thing instead of a 2 hour thing. But we'll talk about some of those in a bit, but overall, like, so Star Wars has this mega fandom, and I can sort of see it, but for me, and it could be a consequence of watching this, 30 years later.
Damn near. Oh, it is.
It's
40
been 40 years.
40 years.
This year is the
this year.
40th anniversary of the original Star Wars.
Holy crap!
Ooh, I
my
can't-
God.
Yeah.
There you go.
1977. That's right.
Well timed.
Go us. But yeah, so maybe a consequence of just watching it in 2017 where I've seen movies that do like the futuristic tech thing better. But I recognize that's a 1977 film, like there's playbacks of the technology at that time and kind of what the limitations of fiction that we've had at that time are. So it's in that capacity, it's an okay movie. Like I thought it was. We'll talk about more into it, and I hate saying it was fine, but honestly, it was okay. Like, we'll talk about this toward the end a little bit, where it's like, will you watch the next one? Well, we'll see. But it held its own, and for a 1977 movie, probably bitching. 2017, that's okay, neat, but
Valid. No,
That's a valid argument.
That's a legit
Yeah.
criticism.
For those of you who are still listening and didn't listen to the first part of this, Ben watched the despecialized version of A New Hope.
Yep.
And a big part of that is it is as close as you can get to the original release of the movie. So it doesn't have all the little extra touch-ups that they did on the visual effects.
It removes a lot of the egregious stuff, like
Yes.
Han dodging a laser blast at point blank, which, God, I'm glad that's gone.
even
Yeah,
if
you-
that
you-
happened, I couldn't see it because the goddamn jump cuts were so freaking
So
quick.
that's one thing I was actually gonna bring up first. So the jump cuts really got to you then?
Oh, they were rough, and I'm not photosensitive. I don't have epilepsy or anything of the sort.
Yeah.
But I blink and it's just like, whoa, okay, we're in a different hallway with new things happening. And some scenes where it's like, this should not be a 2-minute conversation in the middle of a fucking firefight.
Yeah.
Some things are like, hey, like, I think the part where it was Chewbacca and Han and I think Luke at the time, where like they were disguised themselves as the Stormtroopers. And they were just like, Chewbacca's just shooting out like security cameras or panels or something, question mark, I'm not sure.
It's assumed to be security equipment.
There is probably 37 jump cuts in a 20-second place. It's like, Jesus.
Admittedly, in that very close quarters fight scene, you are completely correct. That is some bullshit editing. It's really bad.
Some of it's rough, and I'm not a cinematographer. I'm not going to say I can do it better, but
Yeah.
was that necessary?
No,
Like,
I get you. It doesn't really need to show 7,000 different cameras being blown up specifically by Chewie to show you that, hey, they're blowing up security
Chewie
equipment.
has bitch and aim and a really shit nickname. Like,
I love Chewie.
well, I couldn't get over it because my father-in-law's dog, his name is Chewie, and he's maybe 6 inches tall.
I'm sure that there's
and
a
it's like,
reason.
Chewie! He's like,
I'm sure that there's a reason behind that.
I honestly didn't put 2 and 2 together until like 5 seconds ago.
Now you got it. Oh fuck! Star
Complete
Wars
side note,
fan.
the reason Chewbacca exists is George Lucas based him off of his dog. Who would
Well,
always
that's a legit thing.
he
yeah.
would sit in the co-pilot position, the shotgun chair of his car when he'd be driving
And
around.
so the
and
gag
that was
was-
Oh, I didn't
That's
know
why.
that.
That's why Chewie's the
Chewie
co-pilot.
Chewie is basically a big intelligent dog.
That was the point.
I understand. Okay.
He's a Sasquatch dog. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Cute.
Right, he's actually, admittedly, Chewie might be one of my favorite parts of the original, where you're just like, this thing's a fucking adorable, I love it.
So, again, generic details. We can get into it a little bit more if you
No,
want to do like
let's dig in.
if you want to go by like
Okay,
a scene by scene thing or how you want to do it.
I don't think we need to go scene by scene. Let's go point by point here.
All right, so Ben, let's dig into your notes. Tell me some of the high A points and some of the low points about the movie for you.
Oh boy. Okay. So my first few notes tend to be plot points. So I'm making sure I'm following along.
Yeah.
And it's great. The first thing that came up that I was just kind of like, why? Is a little. We talked about this last. We tried this before, and I called them like miniature like KKK sand demons.
That was
no,
the
you
term.
called them KKK gremlins.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what you
what
called
it
them.
It is like even like watching it like back, and it's like, okay,
I
sure.
can see how watching Jawas for the first time would be fucking confusing
It's
and
still-
moderately
It's
terrifying.
still confusing. Like,
No, you're right. They're fucking weird.
my hyper specific note for this, I don't know if you guys played Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube, but it sounds
Oh
like
my
the
God, they
sounds
look
like
like
the
ghosts.
doctor. No, it's not even that. They sound like Professor Egaz, like blah 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 blah. I was like, oh my. Sure. Okay. Great.
I mean, yeah, if Professor Egad smoked like 3 packs a day for 30 years,
that's kind of what
because they're like,
Are you telling me Jawas don't smoke? Look
no,
at them.
I guarantee you. Look at that ship they'd ride around in. That thing is a rust bucket. That is essentially a mobile home.
It is also likely built by stoners, considering we see numerous times in the cantina people just like actively smoking pipes.
Oh yeah,
like okay, but
it could be it could be like shisha.
I think it was supposed to be, considering Tatooine is in general was based on what if Arabia was a planet.
but
Fair.
yeah. So the very beginning of the movie, straightforward.
Yeah.
Made sense. I feel like C-3PO and R2-D2 throughout the entirety of this movie, and yes, I understand they're robots and androids and shit, they lack any sense of urgency. The whole damn movie lacks any sense of urgency, which drives me up a wall.
I can admittedly see how
Holy
that could be a
crap.
problem.
It was rough. They're like, we need to go, and I forget who
Right.
says what, but and they're like, no, and they're like, yes, and it's like, fucking leave, like this is not...
Do something, damn it!
So I was paying attention to this when during our first watch because we took a couple breaks for bathrooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did.
And
We're drinking a shitload of beer, audience.
We're
It's-
talking-
yeah.
we're talking about a 2-hour-long movie, and they end up spending like an hour of that movie on Tatooine, and then another good 30 minutes of it on the Death Star, and then that last 30 minutes, that's all just
Yeah.
that is the trench run and the credits.
I will
Yeah.
say in agreement with you, as much as I do love the opening Tatooine stuff for establishing, I can see how that really started to drag on.
It lingered really
It
hard.
lingered real bad. It does, and I think there is a point made on this where it's like, it does give you a sense of who Luke is,
Yeah.
and his plight, and his dreams, and then that aspect is really good at establishing a character.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Oh yeah,
actually.
All right.
go for it. That ties in nicely.
A lot of my notes consist of a combination of the phrase Luke is acting like a little bitch and needs to chill.
Also, in your defense, you're also not wrong.
I mean, his surrogate parents just died.
Oh God, I had that in here.
my
too.
parents are dead.
I wish it was that reaction. I really do. So he comes back. He figures out that the Imperial Stormtroopers were chasing him, specifically
Good scene.
R2-D2.
I actually really like that.
And
Like
he
running
comes
home scene.
back to whatever his village was, his little fucking sand igloo, and
That's a good term for it.
he sees what appears to be a smoke machine that's gone on way too long, and it's just,
the whole thing's on fire.
well, sure, and it's actually a wonderful, it's a nice shot
It's a
in
good
all
shot.
in all of its worth, but outside of the entrance to it is this fucking skeleton.
Yeah, it's the cheesiest, dumbest
Hey,
looking thing.
Burned so bad, there's nothing left but
That
charred
was
bones.
so-
Yeah, it was,
bad.
and he just looks at it, and he's just kind of like, oh, and it is fucking pieces. Like he doesn't cry. He's like, no. He's just like, oh shit. I guess I have to go be part of the force now.
Admittedly, you're not wrong.
It's just dude, I get it could be really traumatic. He could be going through first stage of denial or first stage of grief, which is this. No, that's not my uncle skeleton. It's.
You're not wrong.
Can we talk a little bit about the scene that happens right after that, where Luke gets back to Obi-Wan at the Jawa massacre? And
The Jawa Massacre. Jawa Massacre needs to be a metal band.
yeah,
That would be amazing.
Yeah, there's my new punk band right
Star
there.
Wars,
Jawa
Star Wars metal band. Jawa Massacre. Yeah. Boom.
Okay, so he shows back up, and you have Obi-Wan just kind of doing whatever, and there is a bonfire that C-3PO is throwing bodies of Jawas onto this bonfire, and R2-D2 is just staying there staring into the flames. It's fucked up.
It's super weird.
Admittedly, in their defense, they did also get abducted by those people. Also kind of fuck those guys.
R2-D2's yeah, I knew it would come to this.
I also imagine R2-D2 as the more terrifying of the two droids. He just can't speak, but he's actually got the darkest thoughts.
Beat, boop, beat, motherfucker.
Anyway, but in defense of Luke's kind of shitty attitude through a good chunk of this movie, so a lot of Star Wars as a series is really a buildings-roman of Luke Skywalker as a character.
Sure.
And this is the very early stages of him, just like in a buildings-roman where you gain confidence in yourself and then begin to understand the world a little bit better. This is essentially his introduction to a new world segment of your buildings were bombed. So I'm not defending it,
Right.
Because you're right, and that is bullshit that he's kind of just a dick for a good chunk of the film.
For a good chunk of the film.
But that is kind of what the original Star Wars is establishment-wise. Empire and Return are where Luke really comes into himself as a character.
Sure.
And that's where the writing gets a lot better.
So, I mean, I equate this my analogy for real life is like it's some 16-year-old who wants to take his El Camino out to the movie theater, and mom's like, no! And by mom, I mean uncle in this case.
Yeah.
Fuck the aunt. Apparently no one gives a shit about the aunt in this movie. I have her
Aunt
name.
Aunt Beru really kind of gets this
I have her
guy.
name for anyone who can guess it off the top of their head.
Aunt
If I can-
Beru.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Boom.
For the
I don't
for
know
the
if that's-
record,
Yeah.
Because they
Aunt
mentioned
Beru.
that once.
you're talking to two people
Yeah.
who've seen that movie
Yeah. A lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
It's weird. So like I feel like I got nothing on the uncle. Basically, I learned like, hey, Uncle's strict and kind of shitty, but he's trying to be like hard, good parent, like all that sort of stuff.
Blue
We'll talk
milk
about-
drinking.
He also gets shot
also-
numerous times.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the only things we know about Aunt Beru is that she drinks blue milk and cooks leeks or something.
I thought it was fucking Kool-Aid, so I'm glad you clarified
It's
it.
supposed to be blue milk apparently because
Sure, because space. Fuck it.
Space milk.
Yeah, it's another. The set design is occasionally another really.
All
dumb
different
thing.
planets are different color palettes of the same shit we have here on Earth, apparently.
You're not wrong.
Effectively the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of something that's always bugged me about the Star Wars universe, where there's no real like diversity in planets. Where it's like, this is just Arabia. Fuck you.
Hey.
Why?
This whole planet is one ecosphere.
Oh, yeah, that's where No Man's Sky got its inspiration.
Oh, shots fired.
Ben coming out here with the fire.
Look,
Not fire.
I know my nerd pop culture, and I figured I'd throw it in.
Anyway, so what's the next major criticism?
Oh Lord, what do we
Because
got?
by the way, audience, John and I seem to have both conceded it's pretty fucking legit criticism.
Oh yeah, it's legit. Okay, throw your hate at me all you want. It's not a perfect movie.
No, not at all. Like, I love the damn film, but I
So,
love it despite its flaws.
This is where it gets weirder because it's my next note quote is holy shit, the movie's just everywhere at this point. It's just I feel like it cuts to everything possible. So so where are we at? So after the scene where we find out that Uncle Owen is Mr. Skeletor,
Great name.
we cut back to the Death Star where there's this flying black drone with a comically large needle, and it's just like never comes into play. No one talks about this.
Interrogation droid.
And then we jump away from that, so we're back on, I believe, still Tatooine. If I'm not
Yes.
wrong.
Tatooine, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we're still on motherfucking Tatooine.
We're still there. Then we get to the infamous. I called it a hookah lounge. I know it's the cantina.
The cantina!
But it looks like people were playing clarinets or not clarinets, oboes, and still like smoking out of them.
They
at
were
the same
smoking
time.
through the others.
Yeah, it was super weird.
But then the alien band, the cantina band, yes,
the infamous song and all that.
they are clearly playing from oboes because that's like the largest reed that'll fit into their weird mouths.
Yeah. And so this is a very tiny criticism, but it
I feel like I
pissed
should
me
be
off to
doing the
no end.
cantina music every time
So-
he criticizes something during the
So
cantina
everyone
scene.
walks in, and Luke walks up to the bar and like takes a seat. Everyone's kind of giving him side glances.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's already in unfriendly territory. This jive motherfucker decides to go up, like pull the bartender by his collar and be like, "I need a drink," and it's like, "Yo, like, you're
That's a good point.
It's supposed to be, admittedly, it's supposed to be as a Luke is green as shit moment, which
it played
it plays out that way, which it's supposed to be. It's a Luke doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Homework for everybody. Go to a bar and try tugging on the sleeve of a bartender. See what happens.
Oh, not just in any bar. In like the scummiest bar in the area, you're gonna get motherfucking punched, if not dragged out.
Or just told to leave.
Not in this universe, apparently, because at one point, dude gets his arm cut off because he does.
Oh, did you miss the context behind that?
No, I knew because the dude was like picking shit. I forget what the specific context of it was, but I know that Obi-Wan stepped in and then basically killed a dude.
Guy and his buddy was picking shit with Luke.
With Luke, right?
And then Obi-Wan told them to back the fuck off.
And
Let me
they
buy you a
didn't.
drink, and they didn't, and Obi-Wan just fucking
Right.
murdered
So I mean, as much context as you could possibly fit in that.
Yeah.
But
They needed to show off that the bar was rough and tumble somehow.
Well, it's also proving that Obi-Wan is more than happy to occasionally murder someone.
sure,
He
and
didn't murder him. He cut his arm off.
He also killed the like deformed face guy. That guy is dead.
Oh,
He
yeah.
slashed him through the chest. Like, that guy's dead.
right. But
That's
anyway,
true.
so we do that, and then we meet Han Solo, and this is gonna look. this tells you a lot about the first time you watched it. I looked and I was like, he's the pilot. I figured that out. I was stupid. I didn't realize he was a specialty pilot. I thought he was just some dude who's like, I got it. I'll take you.
No.
Like, we're
smuggler.
good. Yeah, smuggler. Got it. Figure that out. We'll get to that in a second, too.
Yeah.
Smuggler ass motherfucker.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, so Imperial soldiers come in, and then they do a look around, and they're like, oh, look, they're over there. And, like, they make eye contact. And they just fucking leave, and there's no problem.
So...
And it's like, ha.
You're not wrong. That's another thing where, looking back at it, I always assumed that Obi-Wan probably just, like, forced his way out of their bullshit style of, like, you didn't see me! But yeah, watching it for, like, the first time and not knowing that he could probably do that
I'm sure
would be like, fucking what?
So this is what's brilliant about the movie, and also really bothers me as someone who needs, like, the clear, like, unless it's very explicitly implied, but, like, the Force, which in my notes, I basically say the Force is equivalent to Buddhism. Like, the universe is one and life
It's
and stuff.
actually the best comparison modern religion-wise.
Right, but basically it's like, yeah, like the Force can just do whatever the fuck it needs to do at this particular time. So if you need to vanish and teleport out, then
it's
sure.
plot armor.
Why not? Yeah,
it's plot sealing.
It really is.
Deus Ex Forcina.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, one other tiny thing too. So shit pops off, like Han Solo like shoots a bloke in the face after basically being
I love
asked for
that
money,
scene.
which is dope. Like Han Solo is great.
Establishes Han Solo as a ruthless ass motherfucker.
I love Han Solo. I love his personality. I think it's great.
He's also Harrison Ford at the age of 30, and that man's goddamn
So
gorgeous.
a little bit of a
These are
very
just facts.
tiny nerd thing that really bothered me is what is the bloody currency? Like what is the exchange rate that people? Because he accepts a job for I think 15,000 of money. Don't know what the money is, but just
I believe they
money.
call it credits.
Imperial credits.
Imperial credits, and then so he accepts a job for Imperial credits. Shoots the guy in the face after being accused of not paying Jabba money. And then he flips one coin to the bartender. He's like, "That's for the trouble." It's like, how much is that worth? How much is one?
So, considering Obi-Wan straight up murdered a dude in cold blood and didn't pay the bartender, I'm left to assume that bar probably sees murdered people all the fucking time. I had a feeling Han Solo, that was an establishment of character as he's an asshole.
Look at
he's
it this
willing
way.
to pay for his assholishness.
Look at it this way. Obi-Wan killed a guy who's apparently wanted in 3 systems. Bartender just made money.
You're not wrong. From that perspective, the bartender's probably just like, well, I'm gonna have to deal with shit from Jabba for Greedo dying. But you know what? Greedo is probably wanted in a system anyway. Ship the corpse. I'm fine.
Do they not care about like biohazard waste? Like cleaning that shit up has to be difficult. You're not going to pass inspections. There's blood on the floor. Like,
I don't think the cantina goes through inspection.
I mean, there's a reason Mos Eisley is referred to as a hive of scum and villainy.
That's
See, we
true.
can quote the damn anyway.
I remember that quote, and it's like that's really specific, and that's why. Anyway, so they're going through the town or the village or whatever. It has a name. I just forget what it is.
Most likely.
Yeah, and so R2D2 and 3C3PO.
Yep.
Fuck, that's gonna get hard.
Yep.
Are hiding. They just go in a random place and they lock the door.
Yeah.
Imperial Stormtroopers knock on the door. They look at each other like the door's locked.
Go on to
Okay,
the
next
next one.
place. It's like, oh, you were the most. Oh, it gets worse. They're the most incompetent
You're
motherfuckers
not
I've
wrong.
ever seen. Which matters. It actually matters because how the fuck did the Imperial nation or the group come into power with such egregious military practice? Like, Jesus Christ.
So my other assumption was that they're just general conscripted privates and not their job to give a shit. Like the modern military is kind of like that to a certain extent. Where when you're at a low enough rank, it's not massively important to do some of that.
I'm under the impression that those stormtroopers are kind of posted there regularly.
Yeah.
And so for them, this is sort of like, they want us to find some droids. Okay.
See, I didn't get that impression because I thought the whole point was that they sent the stormtroopers down
No,
to
no,
the
no.
planet to recover.
Stormtroopers aren't.
R2D2.
Well, this is actually a good reference point for later Star Wars properties if you ever get involved in them. Stormtroopers are not exceptional soldiers. They're basically just dudes.
I mean, I figured that out.
Yeah, they're
That
just,
was not a
they're
secret.
like the privates of the military. They're just guys.
Sure, but I guess for me,
Oh no, they're still dumb. You're not wrong.
we
but-
have space technology, right?
Yeah.
You would expect some level of intelligence and competence to sustain space technology. And you knock on a door and you're just like, I'm out. I'm good. I did my job. And it's like, God,
Have you ever met the average person in the information age, man?
don't tell me that.
No, but keep going.
Right. So anyway, Then Jabba talks to Han Solo. They speak in 2 languages.
Oh,
fluently.
you were watching Special
Oh
Edition.
my god,
the new one.
you
Oh,
watched,
that was in the link.
that was not.
Oh, whatever. So
Anyway,
whatever. It's not that huge of a deal.
It's not a huge
Anyway,
thing.
Jabba.
Very tiny
talks to them.
nitpick. They
Yeah.
speak in 2 languages. They speak in 2 languages fluently.
Huttese and English. Yeah.
Sure, why?
Yeah.
Like-
No, it's dumb.
That's
So that scene's Special Edition.
yeah, okay.
So for
Give it a-
reference,
Oh my god, Ben watched the Okay.
no,
that's
well,
fine.
nothing else has been inconsistent. I
No.
think that maybe if
oh,
something else comes out,
did
then it may.
Han dodge the shot in your version?
I couldn't even recall if he did. Or
All
not.
right, fair
There's
enough.
a lot going on where it's like he may have, he may not have. I
Yeah,
don't know.
because that's a really dumb conclusion.
Either way,
to
it's a
come
very tiny thing, but it's just like why?
Well,
Why
okay, so
do that?
continue.
Anyway, my next note for some reason, I think it's in the same scene, but he fired, and this goes out through the entire movie. Han fires his gun in a look. I can say this. I'm in the in group in a very queer way. Like it's very like you know how people like fence and they have like the one. It's real. It's an audio podcast. I know.
Oh yeah, he has the one hand up.
It's the one hand up, and then like the fencing thing. He does that with his gun. And I'm sitting there, it's like, when did my Star Wars become anime? And it's just like, what the
Oh my god.
Hey,
It is a little
I
bit.
had never thought of how dumb that looks.
That is not an
Harrison
insult
Ford is
at
a
all.
man who can strike a pose.
That's. I've been okay.
But that's
so
like so not the way to use a pistol.
very tiny sidetrack. You can edit it later if you want. In professional wrestling, and I learned this about poses, there's one scene that happened recently where the person who thinks he's God, he's from the swamplands of Louisiana.
Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt. He gets infiltrated, so to speak, by Randy Orton. Randy Orton convinces him he's on his side. And to save a very long story short, Randy Orton burns down the gravesite of his dead sister. And it's a big fucking scene. And it's relevant, I promise. He starts a big fucking arson in the middle of the forest. And cut back to a camera scene of like, it's the burning shack in the back. It's Randy Orton in front of the shack. And then he has the audacity to hit his fucking wrestling pose. Like, when you're on the top of the ring, he just poses like an asshole in the middle of the forest for no reason.
Actually,
I appreciate, like, finale poses in scenes where it's useful. Which is why I don't have a criticism of this. Because it just seems like, Han, I'm going to shoot you. And he did. And it was dope.
He did hold his blaster like a sword, now that I think about it. Very fencer.
It was very fencery. There's actually a little bit of that where I critiqued
He used
it.
to have an Errol Flynn mustache.
But yeah, so it's just kind of like, ha-ha! And I was like, cool, I'm in. You got me. You won my heart. Anyway, so we're back.
Sure.
We're back on the ship. We're on the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
Again, now that I know I watched a weird version, cut me off if I'm wrong.
it's got some good points.
So they're driving, they're shipping, whatever, that's flying through space.
Yes.
I couldn't think of the word. And Luke just keeps like talking to him because he's trying to get out of here. He's like, how do I get to hyperspace? And Luke is like just being annoying, like tapping on the shoulder. It's like, Luke, fuck
He's the
Like,
annoying 6-year-old brother.
What's that flashing thing?
Ah, damn it, shut up!
Luke bothers me more and more as this movie goes through. It's like, stop, shut up, you stop it. You let the experts do their thing. And I get it, it's character development, it's growing. Fucking Christ.
Can I jump in for a moment? We've basically been spending like 15 minutes of you just summarizing the plot of the movie, and it's bit like you just got off Tatooine.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I wasn't sure that was a cue for me to like speed up or just
No,
like, but no,
no.
a lot of it's on Tatooine. It's true.
Fuck.
That's the end of it, to the best of my knowledge. But
God damn it, yeah, Tatooine's too long.
Like that entire Ben has been on the back page of his notes now for a while, and he's gone through like 2/3 or 3/4 of his notes just to get off Tatooine.
yeah,
Jesus.
the whole front page is basically Tatooine. Actually, except for the first 3 bullet points, the whole front page is Tatooine notes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot, and
Point
I didn't.
made.
And hell, if I was doing plot points, it'd be a lot longer. But this is just my mind, which is really bad handwriting. Ugh.
Fair enough, keep
Anyway,
going.
right, so, oh yeah, so, okay, cool, I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, correct me. It's not Aberdeen, it's whatever the other, what's the name of the planet that blows up?
Let's call it
Alderaan.
Aberdeen. Let's call it Aberdeen.
Alderaan.
Alderaan, thank you. I don't know why
Alderaan.
Aberdeen came to my head. Alderaan,
Well, you live in Washington.
sure.
And what's his name? Wrestler
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan's from Aberdeen.
Yes, that's why, yeah, that's,
It's like the only thing I know about him.
This is true.
Anyway, so Alderaan.
Right, anyway, so Alderaan blows up.
Yes.
Because of some really terrible, like, hostage negotiation information session.
Basically, the Empire is evil, and fuck you, Grand Moff Tarkin is the most evil British man of them all.
So here's the bit. There's one tiny thing that bothers me, and it's throughout the entire movie. Besides the lack of urgency, it's the lack of appropriate reaction to tragedy. The planet blew the fuck up, right? There's how many billions of people on that planet, and she's like, God damn it, like, fucking, I shouldn't have said that. Like, for Christ's sake, cry, or, like, I don't fucking know.
Even Obi-Wan reacted harsher than she did.
Oh, that's in my notes. The reason that came up is because in my notes, quote, after he's like, oh, like he sits down and like kind of leans against the wall. It looks like he just ate ice cream too fast and has a brain freeze. Where he's like, oh, something is wrong. Give me an ibuprofen.
I'm actually crying from laughing.
It's so... Like, I'm sorry,
not
but
wrong.
it's not...
No, you're not wrong at all.
The reactions don't fit. I'm just like, guys, like... Yes, we have interstellar space and traveling and shit. A planet blew the fuck up.
Like, that's not a small problem.
Like, the physics of that alone would be devastating to anyone in the galaxy, much less the person who oversees the fucking planet.
So, side note, that's actually a criticism that's been heavily leveled at Star Wars very recently.
Oh, good.
Is, like, that's been something that, like, I want to say Robot Chicken mocked first, like, in 2008. And everybody's just been harping on ever since. It's like, yeah, that's not an appropriate reaction to everyone you know and love dying. This is not healthy.
Right, and so that happens, and then the Millennium Falcon's flying through where Alderaan is, or supposed to be. And they sit there for like 2 minutes, like really confused, like it's supposed to be here, why is it not here? And then eventually the Clune is like, oh, it got blown up. And it's like, again, no reaction, no one gets a fuck.
Yeah, Obi-Wan's reaction is, it's been destroyed by the Empire.
Right, and just
Which, admittedly, the only one who, like, none of them even knew they had a planet buster. Like, that was fucking news. They're like, oh, alright, whatever.
Right, like, this is some big technology, and a planet is missing, guys. Someone David planed your fucking planet.
Shit got very real.
And, oh my god.
Brain freak.
That's Chris Angel.
That's Chris Angel.
Who gives a fuck?
Hey, it matters.
You gotta do like the weird open-eyed face from Street Magic, just...
Anywho, so cut back to the Death Star. The Imperial Council's having its meeting, and Darth Vader, thank you.
Yeah.
He's just wandering around, just not sitting at the table, he's just awkwardly going around the conference table, just kind of like, oh, force, whatever, force.
Indeed.
And then that's when he chokes the guy. Because
That was for reference, that was a while ago.
No, was it? No.
It was
that
a
scene?
long time ago.
Oh, because it ties back to a previous note.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
yeah.
that's my bad. Just from all the times I've seen Darth Vader so far up to this point, he doesn't seem particularly menacing. And I think it's just because of the Force is this invisible thing. You don't actually get to see, like, it just seems... I don't know.
Which is why they added in that, like, bass effect when he was choking that guy.
Sure, I thought I was underwater for a second, but
Yeah.
sure. I don't know. I'm not sold on him as a villain yet, and I know it gets covered in the later episodes.
No, but, like, that's not the point. If you didn't believe it now...
I didn't believe it. It's just
fine.
like, I'm the bad guy because I wear black, and it's like, cool, whites versus blacks, good people versus bad people. Sure, that's not the point, but it helped with the color coding of the signs.
It does.
That's fair. What else we got? Oh, fuck, right. So Millennium Falcon gets dragged into the Death Star.
Tractor beam.
Yeah, by the tractor beam. And then, again, I think like 20 Stormtroopers come out and is like, what is this fucking ship doing here? And I think it was Darth Vader, Darth Vader that authorized, like, hey, search the ship. And this comes back to the smuggling thing. They search the ship, they find nothing. They're underneath the fucking floorboard. Like, you have space technology, right? This is where it gets really bothersome.
Yeah.
You have the ability to go into fucking hyperspace, right?
Yep.
You don't have the ability to scan for human life forms, which is covered earlier in the goddamn movie.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Now, to be completely honest, that's what happened. Like that crate that they were carrying into the Millennium Falcon, that was their scanning equipment that they were taking into the ship.
Sure.
And then they got knocked out, and they got their uniforms.
But in his
stolen.
defense, and this is a big point, a Star Destroyer was able to scan an escape pod for life forms at the very beginning part of this film.
From a distance.
From a distance.
All right, yes,
and recognize there is nothing in it and decide not to shoot it down. And they couldn't scan this and be like, there are 6 goddamn life forms on it.
Apparently,
blow it up.
Apparently, a Star Destroyer is more capable of scanning than the Death Star.
Yeah, that's where I actually completely agree with that.
It's just
That's
kind
pretty
of like,
bullshit.
come on.
Like, if you establish that shit, you
that's
use
a smaller
that
thing
shit.
that it's. I'm not gonna say it gets worse necessarily, but a lot of my notes from this point consists of some curse word and just like why this case? Like, not to say the whole part from here on out was bad necessarily, but it's the smaller things that really take me out of it.
Sure.
And we'll get into it. Smaller note. And this is where things get a little bit weird because everything's on the Death Star at this point except for the last, fight.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like everyone keeps saying like the Force is with you, or the Force like be with the Force and all this other crap. Twice or 3 times in this movie, reflexively had no control over this. I responded and also with you, which is a Catholicism bit.
Yeah.
And I said that out loud. It's like, fuck! Like, why did I thought I was over this.
You just realized how fully programmed you were, and you're just like, God damn it, I thought
It
this
really
was gone.
is. And then I shifted my viewpoint of watching the movie between, like, good versus bad versus, like, Catholicism versus Buddhism. Like, it was a really weird sort of transition.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't take it literally, but it's just one of those,
Nah.
like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so now we're wandering around the Death Star.
Yeah.
C-3PO and I think Han and Chewbacca and the whole gang. The
Whole
whole
gang.
gang's wandering around. There's these weird, like, Roomba things. These weird, like, Lego-shaped
then
bricks.
the mouse droid.
Yeah, the mouse droid, who are just wandering around, and Chewbacca or someone is like, no! It just leaves. It just bounces. Doesn't tell anyone anything. It's just gone. Why? Why is that there?
So-
what Stormtrooper is playing with his RC car?
Do you
It's
actually
just
want
like,
context?
is it a plot spoiler context, or
No,
is
it's
it something I'm
just-
just missing? Like,
No,
it's not
it's
explained.
It's a dumb in-universe thing that they don't explain.
Got it.
So with the Death Star being as massive as it is, it's meant to be able to guide people to their correct location. It's essentially it's that red line from Fable to be like, where do I go? Follow this thing.
Oh,
And that's the point of it.
That would have been way more useful if you just said something. If that was a known technology, you could be like, this is what this is for.
Yeah, it's just a thing.
Yeah, it's just okay. So that makes sense, but that is information that was invented after the fact. Who knows if that's what they originally meant?
Oh, probably not. I don't know.
Because at the end of the day, George Lucas just wanted to have a bunch of robots in his movie to make it feel like everything's lived in.
Because
and,
admittedly, in the end, George Lucas is a small child with cinema.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right, so that happens. And then, so there's this whole bit, it keeps cutting back and forth between Obi-Wan and crew moving, and then Darth Vader moving, because they can sense the Force. They sense that each other is
Yeah,
there.
correct.
Fantastic.
So it's all
wonderful,
kind of moving
great.
in circles.
Something bothers me with this, because every time Darth Vader stops, he, like, looks around like a fucking AI. It looks like he walked into a fart, and he's like, what is that? And then just keeps going.
Ah, damn! What happened?
It's super weird. Like, if you're feeling this, and you've never felt it for in years or ages,
Yeah.
you would think something's wrong. You would deal with this in more of a capacity. It's like, I don't know, and just keep walking in your weird circle
Yeah,
planet. Like,
and you think the scent trail would be a little bit stronger than like having him stop in
right, the
random ass
Force
rooms.
again. It seems very malleable. Or it's like, how strong is it now? I don't know. It doesn't matter. We're not quantifying this because quantifying it takes away plot points.
Yeah, quantifying it is something they
Destroys the
tried.
magic, really?
Destroys the magic of it
Yeah.
and really just makes.
I
it
mean,
more
what sort of
functional.
monster would do that?
Also, really quick point, just on a general notion of
Reference
the
audience,
movie,
I'm just staring into space.
discussing the actual soundtrack itself.
Yeah.
Some of it is
Williams.
gorgeous and fits. A lot of Tatooine's music does not fit, in my opinion, to the capacity where it's like, this belongs more in like a mythical fantasy land, like an old-timey like wizardry thing, just because of like how prominent the brasses in particular. I could see that being a much more like royalty thing, because there's no establishment of royalty here. It's just like good, like bad guy emperor, like good guy not emperor. Like I feel like it doesn't fit. And I know it's iconic, and that's a sin in of itself.
No. As a side note, John Williams gets a lot of shit for being real brass heavy with all of his soundtracks.
You're
Super
not.
heavy.
Yeah, no, that's actually a thing.
Yeah.
So John Williams for those of you who don't know, John Williams did the soundtrack for Star Wars and pretty much everything Steven Spielberg made for a long time.
Right, and again, it's not even to say that the music itself is not bad at all. It's gorgeous. Like, I'm a brass player myself. I played tuba. Like, what the sounds they're making, to a T. It's beautiful.
It's good shit.
It's super good. It just doesn't fit.
That's
in my
fine.
opinion, it's just not quite there. But it's a small tangent. Right. So after that, Darth Vader smells a fart. And then so they get in this huge hallway fight. The group gets in a huge hallway fight with the Stormtroopers, and they're shooting back and forth. I timed this out. It's a good 2 to 3 minute scene of nobody moving. They're just shooting at each other in the same fucking hallway. And the reason this bothers me so much is that there's small talk in the middle of this. They're cracking jokes between Leia and Han Solo in the middle of this.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is not the time. You're going to die. Like, you need to get it together. Again, the lack of urgency. Yes, it's a movie. It needs to be entertaining all the way through. I get it.
Stormtroopers
You're
do not
getting
have the
shot
weight.
at.
Yeah.
This is not the time for this shit.
Stormtroopers in this film especially really don't have a lot of weight to the violence behind them.
No, they don't.
So when they're shooting at them in a hallway in what should be a very fucking tense action scene, you don't care. And you're like, and that actually leads to people being like, why the fuck should I care about Stormtroopers? Clearly I can crack jokes while shooting at these bastards.
They have already established that the Stormtroopers aren't worth a shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they're not in trouble. Like, obviously I know that because there's like 18 other movies and 1,000 spin-offs in their own capacity. But there's no danger here. Like, they're just not going to hit. And it's clear after minute 2 of them just firing aimlessly down
and
the hallway.
minimal cover.
Right. Like, and again, space technology. We've had flashbangs since the 1900s. Like, this should not be a problem
You can't
anymore.
throw a goddamn grenade down a hallway.
Well, apparently we can fly a giant space sphere in space. We can't throw a fucking grenade. I actually have a note about the architecture in a bit.
Whatever.
Anywho,
You're not wrong.
anywho, so we get into the trash compactor scene.
Yeah.
There's just an alligator just chilling, just like tackles Luke and pulls him under. Just, why?
Oh, it's very stupid.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is this? And after that happens, no one cares.
No.
You're still in water. There's still an alligator there. It got shot. In
Apparently,
fairness,
it's
but
deep enough that this alligator thing can
there's
live
two
and
questions.
feed.
There's two questions, and it relates to. I'm a nitpicky person. I apologize, but it matters to me. So in that trash compactor, it's random heaps of plastic.
Yep.
Sure, makes sense. You unwrap a gift, you throw it away. Like that's where it goes. I don't care about how it gets disposed into space. I don't care about that. There's also liquid. It's like cool. My assumption, like feces, urine, whatever. That's my go-to guess. It's the plumbing of the thing.
There's probably some blue milk in there too.
Sure, some Kool-Aid, some garbage, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Who threw away a fucking alligator? Like,
also, who threw away that giant thing of rebar that they used to try and like bolt, like stop the door? Like what asshole is shoving that down like an average fucking garbage duct? Just like Bill, it's not working, dude. Just shove it harder.
Like,
no, man, it's not like
these
fitting
are the
down the
things that
chute.
being filmed in 1977 is not an excuse for this. Like, I will give you all the creative license in the world to make whatever space technology you think is appropriate.
Oh, you're so not wrong. That's
You
actually
threw
really.
away an alligator.
That's really goddamn stupid.
Jesus, man. Okay, cool. So there's that, and this is a question note. After that, it's still in the middle of the scene.
421, I told you couldn't keep that alligator.
It's kind of like
You just have to flood. Do you know what it is? It's a mutated goldfish from like all the shit that's down there. Just flushed it. It landed, immediately turned into this monster thing.
it's got that. I mean, that's the only explanation. But you just created life, motherfuckers. Like maybe look into that.
Somebody weaponized the damn sewers. Apparently.
So it's out of place. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's one of those. We need more tragedy in this tragedy, and it's like okay, fine. Anyway, so C-3PO and R2D2 are now in the room. They get locked they lock themselves in the room. Room gets open. I don't know what happens. This is a genuine question.
Yeah.
How did C-3PO and R2D2 get out of the room with the Stormtroopers?
So they
literally talked to them.
So they talk to the Stormtrooper, and the assumption is that they are Imperial droids that have found their way into a locker. Because, like, admittedly, in their defense, for the Stormtroopers, like, how the fuck are you gonna keep track of all the goddamn droids?
All
that end
droids
up on
look the same to them.
that. Anyway, but like in their defense, how many droids end up on the damn planet? Like, fine, whatever, it happens. And they talk to him, and he's like, "Well, my partner's malfunctioning, and we also got thrown into that locker by a bunch of rebels who showed up. Like, how do we get out of here?"
Cool.
So yeah. No, I mean that's a very valid criticism. I assume I assume with that scene it was a lot of we don't know these droids, but we're under the assumption they probably work with us. They look like droids that work with us. Whatever, they got shoved in here by rebels, and aforementioned random stormtrooper is just like, he's probably right. They got kicked into a locker. Like what the fuck the harm gonna be if this astromech droid goes and repairs himself?
I can buy that to a point.
Yeah,
and the reason it's to a point is because there's no establishment of a C-3PO bot on that ship.
You're right. If there had been, and if it had been more obvious the protocol droids were also wandering around, I would agree with that sentiment.
No, this is why I don't get the same criticism to R2-D2, because as we've shown on Tatooine, other droids exist. Other D2s
astromech
exist.
droids are all
That is valid. That has now solved that problem. C-3PO is unique in this universe, to the best of my knowledge, in this movie.
So they did show one shot, albeit briefly, which is why you probably missed it, and that's fine. And they probably should have had more shots of it. But there was one in the Sandcrawler that had a very similar chassis to him, that looked very similar arm-wise as well, that just had a different head.
Oh, is that what that was?
That was that one. That was. See, that's the thing. If they had established it better, given it better lighting, and actually given it a few more moments, then your brain would have been like, oh, these things are common.
Oh, we totally missed the scene from Borderlands, but that's totally fine. That's what it reminded me of. But anyway.
Oh, fair enough.
Future references to past movies.
Anyway.
Right. So, Treasure Hunter starts shutting.
Yeah.
Great.
Alligator.
Small criticism. It gets to a point where they're about body length wide, roughly.
Yeah.
And no matter how you split it, there's a bad premise here. If what's on top of the water is floating, they're okay. They wouldn't have anything to stand on, but they'd be okay.
Yes.
If it's solid, they would be dead.
Oh, yeah.
Because at that point, you're contracting enough waste that it would naturally rise up and kill them. Again, tiny detail. Like, it's not something that ruined the movie for me by any means. It's one of those, like, a little plot armor. A little bit thick on the plot armor. A little bit of plot.
No, that's another major thing where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Looking back, that really doesn't make that much sense.
Yeah, it's again, watching it for the first time by yourself, or second time in my case, by myself, like, there's a lot that you don't really recognize, I feel, and we'll probably touch on it. Right, so at this point, they get out. I don't know what particularly caused this. It's just, at this point, my note, quote, is fucking unbelievably incompetent soldiers. Like, this is the point where it's like, I'm done. I don't know what to tell you at this point. Like, I'm over these soldiers.
Is it the time where Han Solo runs around the corner and there are like 30 stormtroopers, he shoots one and then runs out of a fucking room?
That is exactly what it was.
No, that's a really dumb moment. It's hilarious and genuinely pretty funny, but oh my god, they're so stupid.
And it only gets worse. Like, it really only gets worse. And luckily this scene is almost done, so I don't have to deal with it anymore. So then we go to the fight with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
Yep.
And this is a weird moment. I don't know if it's because of the version I watched. One, it looks like, and this is just me being a victim of my time, it looks like they're playing like Wii Sports Sword Edition with the things. It looks like super like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll have to CGI it later. Like, it doesn't feel like you're swinging a sword. It looks super on.
No, that first one really doesn't have like the momentous weight behind it.
Which is fine. That's a forgiveness of 1977. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
That's fine. What bothers me about this is that at some point, the door for the fight is A, wide open, and B, next to the goddamn Millennial Falcon, which is being surrounded by stormtroopers.
Yes.
Interruption. Another good punk band name, Millennial Falcon.
Millennial Falcon. Oh my god, I'd pay money to see a Millennial Falcon. That sounds like a band I would enjoy.
So... Oh, did I say that? Oh, I did say that wrong. My bad. Whatever. I'm sticking by it.
Yeah,
anyway, so there's 20 soldiers surrounding the Millennium Falcon, right?
Yep.
And they go over to the open door where Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are fighting, and they just fucking watch. I understand why they would want to potentially be cautious about that, but your leader is under attack. Like, handle that. It's a problem with ninjas and zombies and every other lore ever, where it's just like one at a time, guys, one at a time. Jackie Chan films, one at a time, like maybe two at a time. Like, it's infuriating.
So this is one problem with knowing the sequels exist, is so Darth Vader is later on established in and this is another problem with there being sequels and me knowing this, Darth Vader is established in the later movies as a ruthless motherfucker who will more than happily murder his subordinates if they fuck with him. And I have to imagine they didn't explain it, and I wish they had in this movie because it would have established Darth Vader as menacing. Oh, he would have killed the shit out of those stormtroopers if they had fucked with
that's
him.
the whole bit about this movie, and here's like I know that he's the villain for many a movie and many of the sequels. I understand that. This movie does a really poor job of really demonstrating what he's A, capable of, and B, he just seems like more of a henchman for
Tarkin.
For Tarkin.
Which I completely agree with. If they had been villains on a more equal level, I think we would have gotten an even better film.
I feel like they didn't emphasize like how strong the Force was. They didn't yes, I know there's room for sequels to be like, here's the backstory, here's everything else, but in that 2-minute span, I didn't feel like I had enough information to convince myself that this was valid.
Better yet, if there was a quick moment of stormtroopers actually rushing to him and like one lifting his blaster and him just taking it from his hands being like, no.
That would have been fine.
That would have been great.
Or solution two of 3. 1, don't have the scene next to the bloody ship with the door open.
Also that.
Or 3, which is a loose, I will accept it, shut the fucking door. Like, shut it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the bit. When the scene started, and I'm happy to be wrong about this, I thought the door was shut. I thought it was in a random hallway.
It was not.
Noted. Dumb.
Oh, yeah.
Super dumb.
You are completely correct.
I understand limited sound stages and all that crap. Still dumb.
Yeah. You're correct.
It's rough. Anywho, so that all happens, and here's again a little bit of a question. So Obi-Wan, he sees Luke, and sees all the crew, and they're about to sneak on board because again, stormtroopers are incompetent.
They're terrible.
Surround it or don't. Pick one. Your call. I don't care which one it is, but pick one.
Stop sucking, god damn it.
Right. And so he makes eye contact, and then effectively Obi-Wan just kind of gives up, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because of the version I watched or anything else, but the dude literally fucking Chris Angels himself out of existence.
I got this. So, the explanation on that, and I'm not going to say anything, because you'll see in the later films the importance of it.
If he comes back to life, I'm going to be more pissed
when
than
he
anything
says...
May I?
Yeah, go for it.
What he says is, if you strike me down now, I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Okay.
The assumption is that he has become one with the Force.
Got it.
So the reason that he apparated away was that...
plot armor.
But he didn't die. He was able to essentially unify himself with the Force.
And that's why at the end of the movie, Luke is able to actually hear him.
Because he's able to give guidance without actually being there.
See, this is where I was torn on that, and we'll touch on it
Yeah,
a little bit later. So I was under the impression that he was dead, or at least gone, or whatever.
He's dead.
He was not there. End of the line, he was not there, he's not coming back.
Agreed.
Right, so anyway, they get on board, and then they're basically doing the unwind. They're doing the debrief, that was fun, wasn't it? Here's everything. And apparently everyone's the bone lay on this fucking ship all of a sudden. They met literally 30 minutes ago, maybe.
I don't think C-3PO is interested.
Robots are weird, man. Anyway. But yeah, they're kind of doing there. Luke is still acting like a little bitch throughout everything.
Not wrong.
It's really... So they touch back what I presume is the Rebel base or some type of flagship. I don't know what it is. It's just some scene with...
The base on Yavin 4.
No, okay. Here's the most bullshit thing that I just thought of. Luke is sitting there sulking, and Leia walks up. She's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" He's like, "Oh, it's Ben." When she's like, "Oh, poor you. My planet got blown up."
That was actually, for reference, that was the entire part of a Robot Chicken segment where, he's sitting down and he's like, "Man, Ben died. Oh, I'm sorry. Did that old man you just learned about die? Oh, I'm so sorry for you. Let me go back home. Oh, I can't. I fucking can't." And, that was the gag of that Robot Chicken episode. It's just, brutally mocking that scene for its just abrupt brutality of why are we sad about him when a planet is dead?
Again, the plot drama of this is misplaced entirely. They made this a love scene when it should not have been a love scene.
You're not wrong.
Or an emotional feelings for you. We met 30 fucking minutes ago.
You can't do this
in the middle of a gunfight. I understand when you're high adrenaline, high stress, and you get off that. The first and only thing you want to do is bone a thing.
Also, the other assumption is that Han Solo's like, "Hey, honey, You got money? Can I put it in you?
It's
that's
sort of
the
like,
gag.
In a tragedy, you just want to spread your seed. Like, after the fact, like, you have that portion.
Oh, you're still on the Luke thing. I thought you meant Han being like anything a princess on a guy like me.
Same thing. It's not a
just
different.
both?
Yeah,
Right.
both of them. It's like, God, this is gonna turn into a fucking spit roast at this rate. Like, what the hell? We didn't mention this is explicit, right? Like, in case that wasn't covered.
That was...
Every single episode that I post is labeled as explicit.
I swear like a bastard.
And also, before we go away from this,
Yeah.
the Death Star's architecture is nonsense. It makes no fucking sense.
You are not wrong.
Why
People
is-
have analyzed this and been like, this is dumb.
Why would you build a hallway with no bridge to get between the hallway? We have to Tarzan your ass across the other side of the goddamn ship.
No.
It was just retractable for reasons of plot.
Which is dumb.
No,
Like,
it's dumb.
Oh my god.
Oh,
look.
it's so dumb.
I play so many games.
This
and
is what happens
for
when
some-
you have government contracts on a very large scale.
God, I almost buy that better, but the second I see another fucking labyrinth on my spaceship, for no apparent reason, I'm out.
There's a beginner's guide joke in there. Oh, there's a labyrinth here. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
I'm just gonna skip you past it. I don't know why it's here.
It's that's how I felt. I thought that in my head when I saw the non-bridge bridge. And it's like, why? Why have a door here? Why retract the bridge? Why not have safety rails on anything? Like,
So, I'm
there's a
gonna-
point where
And
Obi-Wan
why is
pointing-
one door above the other?
So,
Obi-Wan's-
I'm going to let you finish quickly, but I'm going to pinch myself on this one. I have a pretty massive analysis of this film that I think will help a lot in understanding of these things. Keep going at the film, but I'm going to bring it up near the end and see what you think about it.
Noted.
Okay.
So it's weird though, because the whole point, the one bit that really, and it's an overall critique, is the objective of Obi-Wan was to shut down one of the 6 reactors, some capacity.
Yeah, one of the substations.
One of the substations. Great, fantastic. They show all of him doing that for 10 seconds, which is him flipping a giant ass lever downward.
Which, by the way, no railing.
No railing. That's what I was gonna get into. Like, it's just dangling precariously over a pit of infinity. For no sustainable reason.
There's a really big joke about Star Wars having no railings.
Let's stop referencing other people's stuff, please.
Star Wars really doesn't have any fucking railings, though. Like, that's a legit point.
It's no, the whole thing. Like, I appreciate it. 1977. They don't know. It's like they have the liberty of saying, "Hey, maybe railings decrease our speed of physics." I would buy that. I would scoff.
You add a sense of urgency. People are running to their work because they don't want to stand on that
Well,
fucking bridge.
this ties in.
This bridge is good. This bridge is going to kill me.
I can't imagine a number of stormtroopers like, oh shit, like, oh damn it, he fell, and he's in that trash compactor with the alligator now. Like, what?
Steve, no!
Think about it, like Obi-Wan's going around that cylinder to pull those levers. What if a normal person had to go and pull those levers?
That guy's dead.
That is a thin ledge he's on, like hugging that thing, like okay.
Also, like
Steve dead.
minor criticism number 2, and this is much more forgivable.
Yeah.
How did he know how to do that? How to turn off the reactor? Because I understand it's space technology, beep boop beep. A lot of like, look again. I'm not shitting on the 1977 special effects and visual design. I get it.
Obi-Wan is a wise and well-traveled individual.
But also fair.
Here's the bit. I will accept that enough. That's, again, it's a smaller criticism, but it's like, how did you know to pull that lever? Like, I don't know how to turn on my computer, and it has 3 goddamn buttons. Like, it can be
Also fair.
difficult sometimes. Like, anywho, it's a small thing. I'm not going to harp on it. After that, as we said, we're back in the supposed rebel base of magic that is, we happen to be here now. Fantastic, great.
Yeah.
Whatever. And Luke gets a chance to fly a thing. And the guy's like, are you capable? And he's like, yes. And he's like, okay, great. Like, let's just get on with it, sure.
In their defense, you arm fucking everyone when you're dealing with a revolution.
And
man.
that's, again, I'm not even criticizing that. That's fine. I'm all good
Oh,
with
no,
that.
I didn't think it was a criticism, but like, yeah, you would arm a random kid who's like, I can fly, give him a fucking ship.
Right. And so there's that. Han Solo's like, peace, I'm out. Which I knew immediately, which is like, he's going to come back. I know how this works.
Yeah.
He's going to come back, and it's going to be great.
But it makes sense for the character.
Sure, and that's fine. I thought that was actually consistent. I was actually happy with that. Then they show, we talked about this a little bit before, like they introduced Biggs in person, like by character.
Yeah, that was actually one really great addition in the special edition that I'm pretty sure John can harp on.
Right. One of the things that was not in the original release was that scene where Luke meets up with Biggs and he's like, "Hey, Biggs, hey, you finally made it!" It's like adds some levity to this really dramatic moment that they've been through and they're about to go into, and it also introduces the character Biggs and why he's important.
Right.
And it gives context to Luke's story of where he's come from and what he's become now, and that's actually a very good bookend.
That's great. With the small caveat is that it may have been because I just wasn't watching it quick enough because I was also taking notes. I don't know what happened. Like, everyone effectively dies, sans Luke and Wedge. Everyone else gets blown up. And I understand, like, we've had this discussion about, like, there's no urgency. There's no drama in people dying. And I get it. You're in the middle of a space fight. You save that shit for later.
Yeah.
There's no mourning over people. Ever.
I will say, in Luke's defense, this is the one time where I will make the argument of there is literal xenocide happening.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll mourn when I've moved on.
That's fine.
And that was actually a really good moment where Williams' score fits, where it's like da 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 da, and like their TIE fighter is going down, and Biggs is freaking out because he knows he's gonna die, and he dies, and Luke has a moment where he turns, camera does a mourning theme, he turns back, just like the resolve is harder, and he knows what he needs to do. That was actually one of the deaths I will argue with you that I think they handled really well.
I mean, maybe.
Comparatively to Uncle and Autumn, just like...
let's discuss overall with the pacing of the movie. Like, Tatooine is an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. This whole fight is in a 15-minute period.
Yeah.
When I don't know if it deserved more or less, but it's quick. It is really quick for what it is.
If they had taken 15 minutes from Tatooine and siphoned it off to the Death Star, I think we would have gotten we got a really good film. I would say we got an exceptional film if that was the case.
Sure. Anyway, so big fight scene starts.
Yeah.
Ships are taking off. Every cutscene, every jump cut, which every jump cut's about 2 seconds worth. It's like, boom, boom, ships, whatever.
No.
This bothered me probably unfairly. Every ship or group of ships taking off sounded like a freaking dinosaur. We're just like, it's like, Christ, T-Rex, what the hell are you doing?
Or the constant TIE fighter.
It sounded like we were flying pterodactyls. Like, what is happening in my space movie? It was so, like, when did this become the Land Before Time? I'm super confused. Small criticism on the sound design, but sure. Again, not an expert, but it's like, it's not.
It's funny since those sounds have become so iconic.
Those sounds wouldn't exist in space because there's no goddamn way to make sounds in space.
It doesn't matter.
In defense of space movies in the 70s.
We knew this in the 70s.
No, but like 70s, like classical sci-fi, like shit was normal.
Sure, I will buy that in the Jetsons because it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
We knew this.
No, I'm not saying we didn't know this about space. I'm saying sci-fi authors didn't give a fuck and needed to add, like,
irrelevant.
How do we make things more tension-filled?
Very, very minorly relevant, but it started to wear on me.
No, you're not wrong. That's fine.
Throughout the entire scene, there's people, like, they're shouting out numbers without, this bothers me as a fake scientist, they're shouting out numbers without units. Where it's like, they're 0.3 away. It's like, 0.3 what? 0.3 of a what? Like, of a mile, of a light year?
A
like,
mile is the Death Star literally inside us right now?
There's this huge problem with scale in the movie where I don't know how big or small things are relative to each other. I have no idea how large the Death Star is.
Yeah.
The only thing I have with it is like, oh, that looks like a moon. So I assume that the Death Star looks like a moon, about moon-sized. But these ships, I don't know how fast they're going. I have no idea. There's an odometer. There's a negative odometer that counts down when they get closer to the air duct.
Right.
I don't know what unit of measurement that's in, and that
honestly
takes me away from it.
The one that just says 30,000 for
some
reason. You're like, 30,000 fucking what? Meters? What are we doing here?
Like, I don't even know, like, if we're using metric or not. What the hell? Are we using imperial units? Because that'd be fucking hysterical. I don't know.
Are they measuring in two different systems? Is this what caused the rebellion in the first place? Was this a metric rebellion?
This could be a huge allegory of the Boston Tea Party for all I give a fuck. Like, I have no clue what we're fighting about.
Shit be legit.
Part number 2.
That is a legitimate criticism.
Right. So this all happens. And then this is what you were talking about before, where you get to hear Obi-Wan's voice, and now I know he's part of the Force. I just assumed it was Luke remembering his father. I was like, here's the Force, Luke. And it's like, okay, cool, great. That's not explained in context. I do not believe that it's explained in context. It's not. So I just thought it was his memory. It was like, use the Force.
I will say Luke does look around in a way where the voice clearly isn't coming from his own mind. If he had said, like, Obi-Wan, is that you? That would have been like a
No, because
good
I did the same thing.
defining
I was
moment
listening.
of what's
I was
happening.
listening to it on.
Ben? Yeah, that would have been great. Just like a quick Ben? Is that you? And then like continuing onwards.
Well, I was listening to it in headphones, and it's actually directional. At least the one that I had was, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?" Like, I was like, "Oh, right." Like, I'm guessing he's just hearing things, and that's fine. Like, that's actually acceptable for that scene because you just lost your kind of uncle, father person, your mentor. Now that your uncle is now
Uncle Ben.
Right, Uncle Ben. It's rough after
no one cares about Owen.
after you stopped giving a fuck about like your uncle, Mr. Skeletal.
No one
like,
likes Owen. No one likes
apparently
Owen.
not, because no one gives a fuck after that.
No one likes Owen.
No one cares about death in this goddamn movie. It drives me
Well,
crazy.
so let's wrap shit up.
Sorry,
we're
we're super almost there.
we're very close.
Right. So my note at the end of the scene was that the last like set of actions, the last 2 minutes, happened way quicker than they needed to. Like it happened like he's like, all right, cool. I missed the first pass. We're going around. We're doing it again. That sequence between the first sequence was about like a 2.5 minute scene to Luke going around again and trying for his second shot was another 20 seconds. It's like, this is way quicker than it needs
Wait,
to be.
Luke didn't try for a second shot.
Yeah, Luke was the second shot.
Luke, well, that's what Luke was.
Oh, that's what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I just nicked it on the surface.
I actually really like Red Leader. He seemed like a nice dude.
Red Leader knew what was up.
Everything just kind of happened really quick. And it's like, we got it! And then cut, scene, we're back home. Like
We're back home, everything's exciting.
There was 5 seconds of the Death Star blowing up, maybe, and then it's like, we're back! We're good! We made it. No celebrating in the cockpit necessarily, nothing like that. Everyone gets home and they hug
It moves
him.
at a spontaneously brisk pace at a really
Really quick.
I've got a few things to say about this later, but we'll get back to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then so it happens. It's great. Everyone blows up. We know that Darth Vader's out, which sets up for the sequel, which is actually really good. I appreciate that small detail.
Yeah, the fact that he doesn't die, or like it's not a hand wavy, he just lived, but actually he got shot, collided with the trench, and then flew off.
So I
into
did have
God knows
I
where
had
space.
a minor gripe with it because again, comes down to like, where is the Force applicable? Because it's Darth Vader. If it's a connection with the universe or some capacity, therefore, like what abilities does he have inside a starfighter versus not?
Fair.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have no clue. And it's like, okay, I'm guessing something about this. And it works at a distance that is not palpable here.
Sure.
I don't know. Like, it's weird. Anywho, so everyone comes back. Luke jumps out of the thing, and everyone's, like, hugging him and shit. And so, for context, I watched this movie at about 1.5 times the normal speed, which didn't change anything. Like, it wasn't anything particularly odd. The music still sounded fine. It wasn't Chipmunk version or anything like that. But there's this one tiny part where it was after Han Solo and Luke meet up again and they hug and whatnot. And you know how people like jab you on the shoulder as like a good job, like that sort of thing? So Han Solo does the thing where he kind of like shoves his face away. He's like, I told you I'd be back, and just kind of shoves him. In higher speed, it looks like he slaps the living shit out of Luke.
I told you back, motherfucker.
It does. It looks like she's like, I got you. It's like, whoa. I rewound it. It's like, did he just hit him?
Did he slap that kid?
I was like, okay. Like,
Oh, damn. That'd be so great.
That's-
It's just like, this is the worst day ever.
no, it's a gripe of the way I watched it, and I understand that, but it just looked like he just decked a motherfucker.
That's so great.
I lost it. I lost my goddamn shit seeing that.
You had every right to. That's hilarious.
Anywho, and so for the last 30 seconds of this movie, because that's literally all the time they have dedicated to like the medal ceremony, like I did it, end scene. It's like they walk down the aisle and it's like I did it, and then credits. Like that's basically just kind of it. And I was like, well, give some like a little bit of conclusion to that, like. I want some cuddling after my I want some cuddling after my climax.
I
like,
don't just want done. Fall.
If you think about it, the movie kind of ends like the way like a game on the NES would end.
It
You know?
did. Like you got
And congratulations screen.
Congratulations! And it's just like a still image of someone with their fists up in the air, like, yay!
No, it literally does. Like a winner is you. Like it's all. Yeah, right. It's
etc.
it's that whole bit where it's just like, and that's fine. Like it's not the thing I'm gonna bitch about.
But it's
just
a
one of those,
legit,
like
that's a legit criticism.
man, like
we don't get to see our characters
the
revelating
pacing
victory.
of this movie is weird. It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, so
That's the end of my notes.
Let's ask the conclusion.
Yeah, hang on. Before we move on, I just want to say that thus concludes Ben's summary of the entirety of the movie.
We're at an hour 23.
Damn.
Nice. Oh, to be fair, a good chunk. There was about 15 minutes at the beginning before we started the episode proper.
Where was us dicking around?
Yeah.
Give me another 5 minutes ruined by air compressor.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the merits of the film.
So
let's try and go a little quicker through this.
So what generally
promises.
what did you think? Well, let's hit this. John and I won't interrupt. What did you think about the positives of the movie?
So the positives were, I mean, this is gonna sound really pedantic and easy, but like the things that were good were great. I absolutely like my biggest takeaway is that I love Han Solo as a character. Like I just don't give a fuck. Like I'm my own dude, that sort of stuff. A part of me wishes he didn't compromise. He's like, I'm out. I did my part. I'm done. This is it. You'll see me later. But this is not my fight. And I can almost appreciate if they went that route. But, good guys be good guys. Sure. That was fun. Some of the dialogue between the two droids, R2D2 and C-3PO, that's great. Like, nice little filler. Sometimes in incorrect places. But, still okay. I accept that. And then the overall, the overall thematics. Yes, I have my nitpicky criticisms, and some of them aren't so nitpicky. But overall, I thought it did well enough. It established itself for what it was. It's like, hey, we are a sci-fi movie. Here's our sci-fi things. Like, I didn't have to do a lot of, retrofitting what it fit. Do things fit in this universe or not? I never had a question why would this be in this universe versus anything else? It did what it did well. Related, or on the flip side of it, well, actually, one more positive. It sets itself up for the next movie very, very nicely. That was a nice touch. It made sense that they're because it didn't do it without being every fucking movie nowadays is just one of those and you'll see what happens when you come to buy a $20 ticket to our next show. And it's literally, I'm surprised no one just hard
So my
fourth
Avengers
walls
2
the
criticism.
camera. No one fourth walls the camera. It's just you're gonna have to pay more money. I'm just sorry about it.
Hey Andrew, you know what movie I like?
Oh,
Avengers 2: Age of Ultron.
No.
Oh, well, that was fucking anticlimactic.
no, that was awesome. That was real good.
That was real solid, but damn. All right.
Anyway,
I don't hate it.
I just don't care for it.
So things that did bad, and there are some things that did really bad. Again, I understand this. It's 1977. Also, I don't know what year this supposedly takes place, and I'm glad they don't actually explicitly state
The
it.
future.
No,
The past that is the future.
It takes place a long time ago
In a galaxy
in a
far,
galaxy far, far away.
No, but that's actually fine.
Hand wavy bullshit.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
No, that's actually okay because it doesn't date themselves. They
Yeah,
can say this technology
admittedly.
exists or it doesn't. That's fine.
Admittedly,
But I'm
that
just
does
saying,
help.
some of the parallels. It's a weird. I make this analogous to a Civilization 5 or Civilization 6 tree, where it's you went down one path super hard. You have space technology, but you don't know how to sail a fucking ship.
Yeah,
it's
I've
really
actually done that with Civ
your
5.
your warriors can you have diplomacy up the ass. You're fighting with spears. It's really, it's one of those things where it
You're
just
great,
doesn't,
but also terrible.
it doesn't quite some of the things they do well is great. That scene with the scanning of things is you've lost me on the tech front. At this point, I do not care about your tech. It is invalid. It does not fit.
Sure.
It does not hold up to scrutiny. That
No,
and
keep going.
that and the I know it's a common trope with Star Wars, but legitimately the Stormtroopers took out any threat of violence in this movie.
You're
There
not
was
wrong.
no danger, and I knew that going in.
Yeah.
I saw the movie for the first time last week-ish, barely.
Yeah.
And even then, I was they're still fine. In watching it back, it's they are way better off than they were. It wasn't even a close shot. Nothing came to be a dangerous situation.
No, yeah, they're impotent they're impotent dumbasses
It seems
with
like-
rifles.
It seems
they're
like
terrible.
the idea behind Stormtroopers is that there is strength in numbers.
Which, to be fair, in every iteration of any board game ever made for Star Wars, that's the gag. I played the Fantasy Flight games. I played the fucking Magic one. The gag is that Stormtroopers become stronger the more you have of them, which is fair in a game format, not so much in a movie
Well,
format.
the other issue is that you never see more than a group of, I think, 7 or 8 of them on screen at a time.
Well,
where it's
especially
where are
in-
your numbers at?
Well, especially in the movie when budget becomes an issue.
So
Yeah, fair.
to pull things back into the mainstream of thought,
Right.
Andrew, you want to talk about a fantasy analogy?
So there's this one thing that I remember hearing when I was first doing cinema stuff, actually back in college, about the main logic behind Star Wars, and that is that the main story is essentially, what if we made a fantasy movie and a fantasy general idea in the style of a sci-fi film? So
Okay.
what if we took every single goddamn fantasy trope and just gave it a new coat of paint?
Okay.
Because essentially, when you break it down, that's what Star Wars is. You have the Black Knight in the form of Darth Vader. You have your evil emperor or your evil king. You have Luke Skywalker, the peasant from nowhere who becomes, like, the mightiest knight. You have Obi-Wan, a wizard. You have Han Solo, your, like, rogue character. You have a legit fucking princess. And you have the two bumbling assholes who just stumble their way into everything. And that's essentially what Star Wars is from a fantasy aspect.
And on my perspective, from the sci-fi aspect, Ben, you were talking about how it's like, oh, it's your generic, general sci-fi stuff that you get in movies, right?
Yeah, to a degree, yeah.
Before this movie came out, that didn't exist.
That's the one thing I really want to be mindful of. Like, I want to understand that, like, this is a newly explored trope in fiction at the time.
A lot of, like, the really cool shots of, like, spaceships and all that kind of stuff that they did, that technology didn't exist before. They had to invent that.
ILM is a bunch of goddamn wizards.
Right. And on top of all that, like, it was still pretty common in the day, even in the 1970s, if you're going to go to a sci-fi movie, you'd have spaceships on strings.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Ed Wood was, what, 20 years before this? 15? Tops.
Yeah. Well, a lot happens in
He was
15 years,
There
to be
was
fair.
asshole.
I mean, again, like, I understand that
great
critique and that criticism, and that's not criticism, like that understanding of the viewpoint.
Yeah.
And again, for the time frame, I want to be as fair as I can.
Yeah.
That is totally fine.
So, is it okay if we wrap this up?
Totally.
No, we probably.
So
probably
let's
should.
ask the conclusion.
Yes.
Now.
Ben, important question. Would you be willing to watch more Star Wars in the future?
I will say yes, for the purpose that I want to see if these errors or these kind of faults continue through, or if it gets more resolved as the series go on.
Well, but then let me ask this from a story aspect. Do you want to see what happens in the next film?
Well, that's kind of the weird thing, right? Where, based on this film, I can't say I'm particularly intrigued for two reasons. Or mainly one. There's no development on why people are good or bad. You're just kind of told they are. And as someone who really appreciates a good writing scenario, I love a good villain. From what I understand, the reason that the villain was bad is because of the actions taken during the movie, not the background given to the villain. Like dialogue, or how can I, like, there's no backstory to the guy. Like, we just meet him, he's like, oh, he has the Force, he's bad, he's in black, all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
And I understand, I know how it turns out with the, I know how it goes. But my answer is yes, on the condition
So
of
that was
purely
some-
cinematic.
That was some Donald Trump ass wording you put in.
I'm not happy about it.
So-
Can we retake?
No.
Damn it.
So I already ruined it. We can't retake this.
I get-
So I guess okay. So, but if you were to sit down and with maybe John and me, or even by yourself, we might not turn it into an episode. But would you be willing to watch The Empire Strikes Back?
I will. That's the next one, I assume.
That is the next one.
That's okay. Sure, that'd be acceptable. I would.
Okay.
Do that.
All right.
So we've at least gotten one person further into the fold.
So at some point, we're going to watch The Empire Strikes Back. But Andrew,
Yes.
there is an important thing that you and I need to discuss.
What is that?
And that is that although the show started out with us disagreeing on media,
Sure.
I kind of want to branch out into media that one of us has experienced, the other has not. Like, so we can still do the straight up agree to disagree, but at the same time, as a part of that, I kind of want to do, like, just, like, I want to watch something that I liked as a kid that maybe you never saw, or vice versa.
I'm fine with that. That actually sounds pretty awesome.
And with that in mind, I know for a fact that you have never seen The Last Starfighter.
I have not. I've never experienced that firsthand.
So in the next episode, folks, we're going to talk a little bit about the background of The Last Starfighter. And then in the episode after that, we're going to have watched it and talk to you about what we think.
Perfect.
So if you're all on board, tune in next time.
We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Yay.